But we've got Hollywood coming up for us now. We saw Leaf on Reaper actually earlier here. Man, that is just funny. Seeing that on the stream the whole time. Oh, I'm unfrozen. Excellent. All is well.
All's well with the world. Man, production's hard to run, man. Production's very hard to run. It's in front of 1,000 people, man. But this, honestly, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us on this Saturday. This is your EU action, I think, for the month. This is the most recent. I guess this is the biggest EU tournament event that we have seen so far right now, and we are seeing quite a variety of DPS characters on the side of Fragsters or side of the Grand Danois. But what are you seeing, and could you help us out introducing some of the names of some of these players?
Um, you mean for Grand Danois or?
For either side, dude.
Oh, okay. Well, Noki on the Symmetra is something that we did see a little bit earlier. He actually was playing Torbjorn and Lucio throughout the series as well. In the previous one, Ben Best has been showing off his Reinhardt skills. Also showed up as Winston when the time arose. Poco hitting the Graviton surges pretty well, actually. I don't think we saw a single whiffed surge. Some Earth Shatters here and there were a bit questionable in the first series, but Poco's doing his job for sure. HYP basically always on the Ana. Narwhal, great hit scan player, and Leaf, his Genji plays are something to watch out for. On the offense, again, I haven't really got too much experience with Grand Danois, so I'm hoping to see Manda Trotzer here on the Soldier, looking to impress. Danny on Roadhog, of course, has the insta-kill potential on Roadhog, so we'll see what they can do here on their first push.
Yeah, they are taking that juice. They are taking Gatorade right now and being able to jump onto the point, contesting the high ground, pushing them slightly off of the point. And this is kind of where Symmetra really struggles because they don't have that necessarily control area just yet. They don't have the ability to push it. So Leaf is trying to dive into the background, does get hooked by Danny. So Danny able to take him down almost relatively easily. The Anime does save Ben Best from going down very quickly. But Manatrozer uncontested right now. No one really has a way to deal with it. They don't really have a lot of great DPS that can sneak up on him just yet and contest the point. So he's just standing right on Gatorade, raining health down from above, and does see HYP in the background. Unfortunately, does get forced off by Poco finally, but that Graviton surge, so the Nano boost does get executed out, and they're trying to do as much as they can. Noki in the background on the Symmetra, I think almost trying to get full charge, but right now she will almost get her TP up at 94% right now. Honestly, this is going to be a big decision that he wants to make if he wants to go either TP or shield generator, and it looks like the rest of his team has regrouped and has restaggered, so he will probably go back, and it looks like based on the location, we'll be dropping it as a teleporter, so this team will be able to get back on this point very quickly. Good hold on the side of GamersOrigin.
Yeah, I think Teleporter made the most sense there just because they don't have a Torbjorn as well. If you go with the armor plus the shields, then it makes a lot of sense, I think, for shield gen. But their team's a little squishier. They only have a solo healer, HYP, on Ana, so they want him to get back into battle as quickly as possible. If he does go down, Leaf on Genji can be quite fragile as well. So they're going to jump right onto that Teleporter and take it out. So Metra's usefulness is a bit questionable now that we know the ult is not going to get anything. The Graviton Surge, though, definitely on point, and Poco and crew get all the kills they're looking for in the back of the point.
Yeah, and you almost have to be happy that they actually went after the TP. They essentially closed themselves off. They boxed themselves off in that little corner of the room. And then when you have all your ultimates and you have so much damage you can really use, get the Graviton Surge to capture them all together and execute that well, you're able to stall out infinitely longer. And Noki's actually almost halfway back to another TP, another ultimate. And that Earthshatter does catch down 3 people in the background, and they're just taking the best that they can. Ben Best using both the Fire Strike and the Charge to do as much as he can, doing as much damage. And right now, Grand Danois now in a great situation right now. They haven't been able to get a good, stable offensive push.
Yeah, rough beginning there. I think that Earthshatter was on the money, so Ben Best hitting one definitely felt satisfactory there. 3 kills to his name immediately during that ultimate. And as they chase him down, getting an extremely late kill onto Lind. I don't even know how that happened. Looked like Symmetra turret or orb, stray orb just caught her at the right time, so they got an even longer stagger. But 6 ults are available here. If they can't take it now, they don't deserve it.
Yeah, 1 minute left on the clock. Nerf is running in. Basically, this is going to be a shield duel, and they're going to see what they can do. Particularly, that drop the beat does give them a little more room to play aggressive. He does go right into the backline and drops the Genji, I believe, and wants to take Poco out of the fight, but gets dropped instead. And Ben Best being able to follow up, defending Poco. Poco, I think, does drop, unfortunately, to Manda Trozer, who is been able to get some straight shots, but it looks like the side of Grand Danois, despite getting 3 kills, is getting pushed back. They aren't able to establish the offensive chokehold that they would really like to. Meanwhile, Amanda Trozer, though, with that nano boosted tactical visor, trying to drill right through all the shield, does take down a sentry turret and will help eliminate Bam Best. The Gravity Surge keeps everyone off of the point and makes it so easy for everyone just to drill through. But meanwhile, Leaf in the background has his Dragon Blade and will be taking down Kellex. So right now, what looked like to be an extremely strong fight for StriveWire has been completely tipped. That team horn does go off, and I don't think they'll be able to make it to the point in the last 3 seconds, meaning that GamersOrigin will be taking a full hold on this first set of rounds on Hollywood.
Like I said, man, they had 6 ults. If they don't take it against 3, they don't deserve it. And clearly, I think GamersOrigin did a great job there, just knowing that, you know, a lot of ults were possible, playing around it, rotating at the right times, and they secured all the kills for themselves. So now that they're on the attack, it's going to be could be as simple as one and done. We saw they had a pretty successful Hollywood against LDLC, which is another really strong team. So if they can do the same here, we're off to a hot start for this winners match to try and get out of this group as first place. GamersOrigin looking strong so far. Even with that solo healer, even though the teleporter didn't go their way, they were able to hang on in the end.
Yeah, and that just honestly, that goes to show just how cohesive GamersOrigin has been this entire time. They've been able to win a lot of these fights, and you know, it's a combination of things, right? It's a combination of Leaf being so proficient on the Genji, making it so hard to do, but as well as Norwalk. I mean, Norwalk has just been stellar so far on his DPS here. Has been able to keep everyone alive, and it's honestly surprising, right? Because it didn't look like Grand Danois really had an idea of what to do. They chased off of that teleporter, they got immediately closed in, and it just never thought they were able to put together a strong offensive movement just yet. Aggressive play a little bit from Nerf, who jumped into the backline to try to take that fight, try to get that Earth Shatter. Unfortunately, wasn't able to capitalize on enough high priority targets, was punished by the enemy Reinhardt as Bembes was picking up that big triple kill just as time was starting to tick down and make it so they had no way to get back onto the point. We are seeing a same composition. They did hover the Torbjorn in spawn, but now we will be seeing the Symmetra on Kellex, so this is going to be their take on how well they can really get the shields and everything sustained. But they're running that triple tank composition, and it doesn't look like the side of GamersOrigin has really decided yet, but Leaf and Norwalk will be playing the DPS characters. Leaf is back on his Genji.
And Reaper making an appearance again. It was Leaf last time on Hollywood, Norwalk on Kings Row before that. So he has come into play a couple of times already today. Kellex on the Symmetra on defense, already up to 44%, nailing some of these orbs. Just needs a couple more to get a great start here for the defense. They are running 3 tanks here and a soldier, so a little bit different composition overall, but a little bit more sustain worthy as well. We've got a quick switch from Leaf off the Genji onto Pharah as they get a look at that composition. Decide Pharah is a better option for them. Already taking some free shots over at the cafe, forcing Lind away from there. Soldier trying to get up there as well, but everything looking good for defense so far. They're just ceding them the point, not allowing them to really bully them just yet.
Yeah, and this long range harass from Leaf is going to create a lot of issues as everyone's dropping super low on the side of the defense. Nerf Gallantly gets that shield, so it doesn't take another direct rocket, but looks like Leaf is going right above and punishes a lot of people. Danny does take down Ben Best, so that's one shield that you're not going to see, but Nerf immediately gets traded, so the game is going to be relatively even right now. And Danny comes up from behind and takes down Leaf, drilling them down, says, well, you know, you're not going to be flying anymore, clipping your wings. And Boca, while despite being full charge, will have to back off. He does have 90% ultimate charge, so they will have the Graviton Surge for this next push. However, on the side of the Grand Danois, Kellex has his TP, so he's going to be looking to put it, I think, inside of the cafe. Just it's a relative location. You can surround it with a nest of turrets if he needs to. And he needs to drop this down now. I don't know what he's waiting for.
I think he's still waiting to decide if it's going to be a shield gen or a teleporter. The fact is, TP is going to make a hell of a lot more sense now as his entire team dies, but I don't think they're going to be able to reclaim this point, even if they all take the TP.
Yeah, and Leaf right there with a great damage boost in the background, able to do so much. Nerf able to get on the point, but gets punished by the rocket barrage, which managed to take through 3 people. Yep, and Mana Trozer doing as much as he can, but cannot do enough. And Norwalk, the man of the game so far, being able to do a lot with his active visor and rockets. Match complete, and this was a very quick first match for side GamersOrigin.
Man, that was pretty rough. The teleporter timing didn't really end up making much of a difference. So the fact that it was a little slow because everyone died all at once and they had the long spawn anyway. So the fact is they just got wiped at a really inconvenient time. And I think it was on the shoulders of Leaf, really, as Pharah. I think he barraged twice in the last minute and a half. He got play the game as Genji here on defense instead. But really good stuff out of him, basically on both sides. That big group hug ult. You see him just slash through everything, dash resets everywhere. GamersOrigin made it look easy here on Hollywood. If you're Grand Danois, maybe you want to take this to control, change up the pace a bit.
I definitely agree. I think the next map, and they do have an option to choose. I don't know if they're going to choose Hollywood. They have been a team that I want to say doesn't really enjoy taking it to Koth as often. So we might see, you know, a next round King's Row. However, yes, I do agree with you. I think you need to change up the momentum. I think you need to reset yourself. Say, okay, you know what? Hollywood was a tough game. You guys didn't even get to capture the first point, but that's okay. Let's reset. Let's bring it to the next fight. And I think they have the ability to fight them. They have more than enough DPS and firepower to keep up with the side of GamersOrigin. Just the fact is GamersOrigin just, you know, making a huge statement. And I think we're going to have to flip. Yep, we are going to flip the order of where these guys are as they are going to get into King of the Hill, trying to reset. Like you said, they want to reset where they're standing right now. They do not want to go back to another hybrid map in case they haven't shaken off the jitters just yet. But GamersOrigin extremely strong right now, being able to force them onto a control map. And you know, GamersOrigin, we did see them. This is where they started their comeback last round with a very strong, you know, map on Lijiang Tower. They do run that HYP was running that Sombra, and I don't know if we're going to see it again. I think they had a lot of success without it, with still running a Zenyatta instead. But hey, the Sombra could be a wrench that they throw into the equation to make sure they're not ready for what to expect on the first attack. But our first map, I believe, yes, will be this map right here. This is honestly one of the better maps for a Pharah option. You can control so many of these ledges leading up to the point, as well as being able to zoom onto and contest the central area. In addition, so as we do see Honey on the Pharah, and it looks like they will be running a relatively safe composition. 2 tanks, Pharah, Mandatrozer on the Tracer, being able to hopefully challenge on the point.
As the characters kind of get locked in here, Leaf could show up on that Pharah as well. We saw him actually just play it on Hollywood, so has already shown a little strength on it. But Honey we haven't seen on the Pharah yet, so I'm curious to see how he's going to do there. Mandatrozer was on Soldier, so not too surprising to see him take the hit scan equivalent of Tracer there. But looks like Narwhal and Poco starting off on hit scan. Leaf still has the option of Genji or Pharah, but it looks like they're going to go for those extra environmental kills as well.
Yeah, and this is the big difference right now between both of these compositions. That triple DPS on the side of GamersOrigin. I mean, we said this before. They like running this composition. We saw, you know, a lot of different options, different looks from them, and this is going to be something that's very surprising right now, as Poco will be the one to try to deal with Huni in the air and trying to get as much damage as possibly can, trying to pick him out of the skies. It does look like they are going to go relatively aggressive. Norwalk does manage to get it out with a relatively low HP. HYB does take down Mandatrozer, who was the guy that you were looking to duel. Honey gets taken out in addition to this. So right now, this looks inside of GamersOrigin, just being able to sustain this fight so much better.
Yeah, as we get started, Leaf and Poco getting those kills on the tanks immediately really helps things out as the blue members here of Grand Danois start to fall. It looks like the point will eventually get decided, finally on the side of GamersOrigin. So off to another good start. They just picked off Tracer there at the tail end of the fight as well, so lots of time to basically gather some percentage. Honey looking for some conch shot opportunities. Poco should not be giving it to him there as Soldier, and it looks like hallway side is probably going to be the safer bet, but they're going to start to attack the ledge anyway.
Yeah, and now we see that great jump in from Nerf, trying to separate the majority of the team. Unfortunately, not able to do much as he gets nailed down super soon. And Ahuni, you know, just trying to stay alive in this Pharah v Pharah duel, gets taken out almost immediately. But right now, the side of GamersOrigin just has so much more control over the environment. No one's actually even paying attention to Leaf right now. Leaf's sitting down at like around 29 HP for the longest time, but because they don't have a lot of reliable hit scans to take him down, he's been able to stay alive, has resustained, now up to 95% with that rocket barrage. And you know, this is such a great job. Norwalk playing very safe, trying to taking a little bit of damage, doesn't really need to pop that recall just yet. Now going to focus down on Huni, forcing Huni to get out of the way, and that nano boost does come down, and Mandatrozer on the McCree, gets taken out by the pulse bomb, so he can't even do anything at all, and Honey not able to find a response in return. And the side of GamersOrigin, they don't even need their ult at this point.
Poco and Narwhal just doing a great job on their hit scan rolls as they find basically the squishy targets, not even worrying about the tanks, just trying to kill the DPS as quick as they can, and it's working out. Mandatrozer, I think it's very interesting that we're seeing McCree, Pharah as the two DPS options on Control, no Tracer, no Genji. Mandatrozer gets a flash and kill on Narwhal, so it's a great start for them to try to retake, but with all the ults flying out now, it seems to favor GamersOrigin just a little bit. Benbest still there in high health as Winston leaping onto the back line now. He pops his ult. That should extend them all the way to 99% by the time this Winston does eventually go down. So they put themselves in one win and done territory.
Yeah, and right now the lost supports on the side of the Grand Danois are trying to contest as best as they can, and Mandatrozer staying alive, unfortunately not able to win the duel against Poco, and he's kind of leaving his team alone, trying to see this team can win the fight without their help. Poco does go super low, 6 HP, still alive in the background, gets healed up by the Transcendence, so they have this game right now. They have the ability to sustain and do a lot more damage. Nerfed on the Winston, not really able to convert, and Kellex trying to dodge around, trying to stall as much time as he can. Lucios are incredibly good in this aspect, making it hard to hit, but that's game one, and it did not seem like Grand Danois had at all, you know, an issue here. It looks like Nerf asking to restart the game. He's getting some FPS drops, so that might be a reason why they're not being able to perform. But even with FPS drops, Grand Danois just not able to do as much as they can. And we are going to get into a pause screen. Aren't we glad that we instituted this feature like very recently, and we can now do stuff like this?
Yeah, pause definitely has come into play a lot in recent tournaments, and it's just nicer to not have to all scratch our heads and say, okay, what do we do now? What point in the game were we? Who was ahead? Were they ahead enough that we can't just restart? Blah, blah, blah. So pause has definitely helped out a lot, but it's still kind of weird because sometimes if you're in a huge battle and a couple of ults were just launched, like let's say Sound Barrier just went out and then your guy starts lagging or drops out of the game, do you pause immediately during the huge battle, or do you pause immediately after the battle finishes? Because it's still, it's not both teams' responsibility to have your gear work, it's only yours. So pausing in the middle of a huge fight can also be, frowned upon. So that's something that I've seen admins actually have huge question marks still, like what is the kind of accepted competitive thing to do if a player drops? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's always tough. I think the entire thing is that we don't have the technology to do like a round restart. Like, for example, in Counter-Strike Global Offensive, if someone drops out before any damage is done, right, you can reconstruct the round. You can go back and redo money and stuff like that. So it's a lot easier for them to take that game data and say, like, okay, well, if someone dropped out, it's very easy for them to go back and do this. Whereas, here it's just, I mean, Overwatch is just a very, momentum reliant. It's very fast. It's hard to pick a good pause position because, like you said, it could be a weird spot where someone uses an ultimate or anything like that. However, it looks like the pause we will be getting unpaused as Nerf has relogged in, and it looks like I think all the settings are good right now, and we are jumping back into the game. But yeah, what do you think on the side of Grand Danois? What do they need to change up? Do you think this is a composition difference, or do you feel like they need to change the way they've been playing as a team so far?
I mean, I'm sure McCree is great, but it didn't work out with McCree Pharah last time. They didn't have any sustained damage. It was all burst. So if they didn't get the kills immediately, they just kind of ended up flopping over. Let's make sure our scoreboard is actually up to date as well. GamersOrigin leading the series 1-0 is important here, as this map unfolds. It could mean them winning the series and leaving the group in first place, but as we have the doors open now, we are seeing Mandatrozer over on the Tracer, which I do think is a little bit better. They are running 3 tanks here against only 1 on the side of GamersOrigin. Benbest on the Winston still allowing Leaf, Poco, and Narwhal to all stay DPS.
Yeah, and right now they are going to try dodging out of the way of the Roadhog. They want to make sure they don't get hooked in, because remember, they are a relatively squishy team, and we're going to jump in all in the background. Nerf is trying to do as best as he can to try to get any easy kills as much as possible, and Lee somehow still staying alive, but will be dropping relatively quickly. But Poco trying to get the trades out as much as he can to sustain damage. When you have no one to deal with that soldier, it's extremely hard, especially when you get divided like this. Honey does have a lot of charge right now, and Danny's still staying alive. If Danny goes down, this actually could be a relatively good trade for his side, but Poco, in attempting to get the trade, unfortunately gets traded out, and now the Grand Danois will get their first point capture of this match, of this map so far. Mandatrozer on the Tracer still has to prove himself. He is going to be such a core core member of this team because he needs to make sure that Norwalk doesn't go off. Leaf has now switched onto the Reaper, so this is going to be very interesting to see how they confront it. Reaper is a good answer to tanks, also honestly a pretty good answer to squishy targets if you can land that shotgun headshot.
Yeah, Reaper could work out really well here. Leaf has played him a little bit already in the tournament today. Narwhal getting a quick pulse bomb kill onto the Ana. Definitely a nice way to start things off. Danny also falling into 6v4, should be no problem to clean up. Leaf gets the kill on Winston, as you'd expect, and no ults really should be necessary. Tracer actually gets pooped off the side with no recall to save himself, but he'll be back in the battle by the time that Grand Danois returns anyway, and it is going to be a nice flip here for GamersOrigin to get them started on some percentage as well. We've got Graviton Surge ready to go here. Mandatruzzer does flip back over to McCree.
Yeah, and this is very interesting, his choice to do this, but at the same time, I think he's trusting his aim to really take the headshots and clip them up if possible. He gets immediately charged by Ben Best, and Ben Best doesn't even care about it. He says, well, you can trade all you want. I'm not going to charge you anyway. I don't even know what you were running. But Grand Danois right now struggling to find full hold into the point, and Ben Best just playing so aggressive, and his team's actually getting punished by this. He's dropping slowly behind as Danny, with that whole hog, able to do so much damage to it and try to kill as many people as possible. Norwalk's trying to run away, dodges the hook, able to reach a health pack, but the side of GamersOrigin playing a little too aggressive and we're punished.
Yeah, Grand Danois finally find the opening they're looking for. Reaper kind of hiding over here on the side. I don't know if Leaf has been spotted yet. I think finally Zarya did just turn and find him, but as they rush out with the speed boost, Nano Boost goes out onto Leaf. He does not have Death Blossom yet. Still just trying to find some squishy targets, but Sound Barrier prevents him from getting any kills. Good cancellation there, and Reaper falls in the end. So the advantage is still on Grand Danois. Honey gets pinned but not killed. If they can find Ben Best and get him taken out, that will basically be the end of the fight. Graviton Surge not even really necessary there. It catches 3 people anyway. Oh, actually, it must have been necessary. It seems that the fight kind of devolved on the other side. No, it's actually, yeah, kind of a waste in the end there as Grand Danois just hang on easily, 81% now, and no grab for Poco and friends to work with.
Yeah, this is going to be where GamersOrigin really is going to need to execute. Remember, they do have that Death Blossom, which is an ultimate we don't see a lot. If you can get into the backline, get speed boosted there, he can take out a large portion of it, especially if he takes out supports without them really knowing. But Danny has been the man to watch. He's been laying a lot of crucial hooks, and he's watching. He's keeping an eye out for that big target. He tries to go for the prediction and knows the Death Blossom is going to happen, but Death Blossom on Leaf doing so much there. Mandatruzzer trying his best to get back into the fight and do as much as he can, but GamersOrigin just being able to rush in, and the brink of time, team kill whistle goes off. They've reset and now up to 41%, preventing that second round take.
Huge Earth Shatter whiff there. He takes the bait and hits the Rhine Shield instead. It could have hit basically everyone and just won the round, so I can't really blame him for going for it, but you know, a real shame they don't have it to work with this time. Only Deadeye, which is actually not even a great ultimate in any sense these days with the amount of barriers and CC that exists. We'll see if he gets anything for it here. Really just zoning them away to try and flip the point back in their favor. Pulls the trigger and gets nothing for it. It's the Nano Burst on Reinhardt that actually ends up saving the day here. You got a Nano Visor live here from Soldier. Narwhal trying to get some damage in. Oh, he actually didn't have the visor. It was just a Nano Boost, so he wasn't able to really get a ton of damage out. Nerf ends up falling. You've got Kelix here as the Lucio trying to stay alive, but as he catches that Biotic Grenade, he doesn't last long either. Kenzie and company, actually, sorry, Narwhal and company. Kenzie was last match. Narwhal able to flip the point there. 71% now for GamersOrigin and climbing.
Yeah, and GamersOrigin, you know, they were not worried about giving up the point. They wanted to win the fight outside the point before going in and retaking with their abilities. Right now, in GamersOrigin, establishing a very strong foothold. They are waiting on a few ultimates. Honey is going to be the person that we need to watch. He does have the Graviton Surge, and I've seen him hit some nutty ones, and he catches so many people. Ben Best goes down almost immediately, but in the background, Norwalk, though, getting some quality trades, unfortunately, will go down at 99%, and Nerf being the man that can do as much as he can, Leaf unable to do much in return, and they will be changing it. Overtime is ticking down. I don't think there's any way right now for GamersOrigin to get back onto the point. Grand Danois in a very back and forth second map will be taking this, second round will be taking this, bringing it back to 1-1.
Yep, evening things up there, taking the night market level. That means we will move to Control Center. This is where Sombra was busted out last time by HYP, but don't really expect to see it again. It just didn't pan out either of the times that we saw it here. They ended up losing those rounds both times against LDLC. So we'll see now as everyone kind of locks in again. Leaf favoring that Reaper, even though the Death Blossoms did not get the mileage that he was looking for. He's staying on Reaper anyway. Oh, there's H5E with the Sombra.
Oh man.
Sticking to his guns.
Sticking to his guns. I think he wants to see if this works. Remember, last time was a big reason why. It's because they just weren't winning the fights at the end of the day. But GamersOrigin definitely riding the momentum. They want to see if they can secure this. They're going to hack the closed health pack, and it looks like HYP might be trying to stealth and go in the background to hack the health pack on their side, or hack the health pack on the outside of the main point. Right now, they're just jostling for position. They're just jostling for position, trying to get as much damage as we want. And Trozer with his McCree. Honestly, this is a little doubtful because we've seen how inconsistent he's been with his aim. But if his aim turns on, I doubt that he'll be able to. I definitely think he'll be able to pin so many of the kills as possible. And HYP does go down, but unfortunately, Trozer just a little too late. The rest of the team able to chase him down, and Norwalk already on fire, taking down so much damage and so many opponents. And this is just GamersOrigin reestablishing the control.
No idea how Honey killed himself. I didn't happen to see him anywhere, but if he flew off the edge, that would be a little bit embarrassing, and if he right-clicked and killed himself, that'd be also embarrassing. So, fortunately for him, we didn't catch that as we get the next fight starting. 20% already here for GamersOrigin as Danois loops around the side. You've got Nerf leading the charge. No ult available on either side just yet, except for that EMP that comes out and does actually snag a couple members of the Danois crew. They are all going to fall. So EMP in the end probably did end up winning the fight. Was it overkill though? Not quite sure.
Yeah, and this is going to be, I don't know if necessarily overkill, but that hack on the near health pack is going to hurt. That means they're going to have to walk all the way back just to get some healing, and this might reduce the ability they have to sustain this fight currently. And Trozer not really doing what they know. The ground surge does keep a lot of them together, and it doesn't look like GamersOrigin is taking their foot off of the pedal. Danny's trying to out-heal a lot of the damage, but guys, you do not have the Anninate on you. This is not the old Roadhog Anna combination. Another team kill whistle goes off, and GamersOrigin just putting their foot down says, we will be able to beat you on hybrid, and now we can take you on Koth as well. Who do you think you want to see honestly stand up to them in the side of Danois?
Danois, I mean, they need their Tracer to do what Kenzie did for LDLC, which is just stay alive forever and ever. And that's, you know, it can be a tall task here against some good players. HYP does get taken out first, so they need to press their advantage. Nerf charges and misses against Ben Best as he catches a speed boost of his own. Flattened by the Earthshatter is Boostio. Kellex actually caught the nano boost and got laid flat by Earthshatter. Graviton Surge coming out from Danois. This is their last opportunity. They combine it with a Whole Hog and Trozer doing some damage on that Tracer, and they finally do flip the point. So ultimate usage was basically needed across the board there. They still do have Sound Barrier and Earthshatter. If they can get those guys into play, they might be able to hold this one at a time, but as HYP and company have EMP available and Death Blossom, this could be a really rough thing to hold here.
Yeah, and right now, Nerfed with that Earthshatter has the ability to do as much as they can. If they honestly can force the shield down from Ben Best, this will be a good opportunity. He catches out so many people. Norwalk, who's been such a key player, has gone down, but the EMP in the background will be buying them a little more time inside of GamersOrigin. I mean, they can't use a lot of their abilities, so they're slowly but surely taking back this fight. Leaf is able to take down Trozer for a trade against Boca, but Kellex just staying alive in the background, trying to make sure that, you know, he's able to stall at the point. Danny just running around, trying to make sure he can't get taken out of the way. Leaf somehow still lives after all of that, and Leaf with the Death Blossom on point, we'll be able to wrap this up soon enough. The Sound Barrier is able to give him that shield, and that Tactic Visor goes off in an inopportune time, and they still have a lot of their shields, and he's in the background. Die. Does manage to catch a little bit of the Anninate, but still not able to go down. 128 already. Takes out Trozer, who was trying to stay alive on site, forcing overtime, and now this is where it's going to get dangerous. The side of Danois, no way to achieve, no way to get on the point because of that Graviton Surge, making this 2-1 in the favor of GamersOrigin.
Unfortunately for Kellex, he did such a great job as Lucio extending that fight. He went from like 37% to 55% or so, all by himself, as Lucio just bouncing off and on the point, trying to speed boost his friends in, trying to keep everyone healthy, and still keep that percentage building for his side. But as soon as he went down, Trozer was suddenly alone on the point, 4v1. As Tracer died, so did their hopes for Control Center. But we are back now onto the garden level. This is where we saw some Pharah battling happening earlier, and it looks like Trozer is going to hop back on McCree. They expect the Pharah, so Trozer has to try and deal with it. However, we can see that, Leaf just now locking in the Pharah. I was going to say he was on Reaper again, but Pharah is kind of a staple here on this level, so Mandatroser has to be good with the McCree here. They're going to the hallway side to avoid getting moved off unnecessarily, and Honey on the Genji could be a difference maker here. We didn't really see him play Genji up to this point yet either.
Indeed, and they're not trying to jostle for position. They're trying to go fight on the point and try to regain control if possible. So we're actually going to jump on with Mandatroser, who has been sneaking around carefully, trying to find a good pick, and unfortunately does not get that lucky headshot off that he was looking for, trying to just get as much damage as he can. And they are fighting more so on the point. Mandatroser does get knocked off of the point, so they aren't able to establish control immediately. And honestly, when you don't really have a big shield up in front that can really help you out with Nerf down on the ground, there's not much you can do. And Grand Danois, Mandatroser finally coming alive, taking away Norwalk and Ben Best as well, but he's going to get taken down by HYP, as HYP just able to duel him a lot better. Somehow, you know, supports are better DPS after all. And Lind, I'm not exactly sure what Lind was doing, but jumping off of that, maybe he misestimated where he was, or he understands that they're going to reset it. GamersOrigin with Nuki have been able to take this fight and will be capturing the first point, and this is not going to look good for the Grand Danois if they're not able to contest this.
Yeah, Lin just hopped off so he can make sure to respawn alongside Lucio there. It's not really worth it to have just Anna on the point anyway. He's going to die. They're probably going to stagger her. So he just leaps off the side. They go hallway side again here to avoid Leaf's bouncy shots. We'll see if this time is going to go any better for them. Nerfed leading the charge here. Need to get in there before his shield actually breaks. Winston leaps directly into the backline. Barrage goes down as well, and Mandatroser's already out of the fight.
Yeah, and this is where it's going to get really raw. Poco's coming in right now with the soldier, dealing with Danny right now. Danny does take down, actually Danny doesn't even take down the Winston at all, and Danny's getting zoned off away from everyone. No one has an answer to necessarily deal with Leaf, and this might be honestly the fall of Mandatroser just a little bit, and Honey recognizes what they need to do, does switch onto the soldier. He realizes how much of a threat Leaf is being, so he's switched onto the soldier to get that more consistent hit scan out of the way. Double hit scan should be enough to deal with Leaf himself, but Leaf has been so elusive, man, to stay alive for so many of these fights, and they have so many ultimates on the side of GamersOrigin. They should be more than able to hold it off. They should be able to stall out, and this is going to be a big push from the side of Grand Danois. See if this executes.
Yeah, Leaf is doing a great job with the extended floating. He's got tons of LOS to work with. Poco and Narwhal find kills immediately onto two huge targets. Reinhardt and Lucio already down, but it's a 4v4 in the end. Sound barrier coming out there from Noki, as well as the Winston ult here from Ben Best. Should be enough to sustain this fight, but they need to get some kills during this as well. Graviton Surge goes out after the sound barrier kind of wears off and Vincent's ult is finished, so still a fighting chance here. Lind, as he goes down though, I think that the red team GamersOrigin should be in full control now. They've got a healer, they've got their 2 DPS just laying into Nerf, and as Reinhardt goes down, there's really not much time left. Kellex is on the point. That's going to reach 99% as they get the kills they're looking for. Honey goes down. Oh, Leaf goes down. So there's a little chance at life here. Sound barrier goes out, only catches himself and Zarya, but Reinhardt and Anna are just around the bend. This fight could still go the way of Grand Danois.
Yeah, the Earth Shatter doesn't really catch Norwalk, who is hiding around the corner, so Nerf is going to get taken down very easily. Mandatroser trying to stall the point as much as he can, and then uses that recall to get back in place and make sure that he's able to stay alive, but unfortunately, having health doesn't matter if you don't have control of the point, and overtime ticks down, and that's a clean victory for the side of GamersOrigin. 2-0 in this set. They advance to the playoffs tomorrow, but this map on Lijiang Tower was just so one-sided.
It was fairly one-sided. I think Narwhal and Leaf and Poco all being able to play DPS definitely frees them up to just be the fraggers that they are, rather than having to rely on a bunch of different tanks. They're making it work here with the DPS, and Poco on the Zarya plays him like a DPS, so the play of the game worked out quite nicely. Again, Poco playing Zarya kind of throughout these two series, I didn't see any Graviton Surges really out of him that I didn't like. Maybe one time on the Night Market level we saw was a little out of place, as most of his team is dead already, but they're pretty much all on the money. He catches 3 or 4 people every time. They generally win the fights where he uses Grav, so props to him. And GamersOrigin escaping Group B in first place. Props to them, because that group was pretty tough, honestly, the 4 teams that they had.
Yeah, and I think now we're going to have to figure out if we want to follow the loser side bracket. So I'm going to switch back to our lovely cameras to make sure that everyone can see what we're doing, but also just so I can talk to some of these teams to see where we want to go next. This group has been kind of it's been super interesting, right? Because the big thing was game one of the first tournament, the first game of the tournament that we saw was LDLC versus Gamers Origin. LDLC did get out to an early lead, and we honestly, I personally may have been counting out Gamers Origin just a little bit, but Gamers Origin has found all of these answers, and you're exactly right. Poco has been such an instrumental part of this team because not only is he landing all those key graviton surges, he's also been such a strong soldier, and it's so much easier when you don't have to deal with any aerial threats at all. Grand Danois Honey immediately switches out that fair, does not want to run into Poco again, does not want to fight that at all, and Leaf being the dominant DPS as well has also kind of shown that yeah, Gamers Origin is a threat to be reckoned with. They will be advancing on to the playoffs tomorrow. And so I think they're done for the rest of the day. But meanwhile, Grand Danois will be falling down to the loser side bracket. I think they will be fighting in the consolation finals. I think it's them. And let me check who they will be specifically fighting.
Looks like LDLC is up 1-0 on Nerd Rage at the most recent bracket update.
Yeah.
So we're not really sure yet.
So the dream would be, realistically, LDLC taking the victory, and we'll get to see another competitive game. However, on the other side of the bracket, Group A, which has also been played, there is some heartbreak that's going to happen in Group A. But right now, to recap the scores, the Chavs beat Bonkers in the first semifinal, followed by Team Solar taking the win over OW.QQ to advance to the winner's side. In the winner's side finals, we had the Chavs once again beating Team Solar 2-0 to advance to the playoffs tomorrow. On the loser's side, unfortunately, Bonkers looks like they fell out against OW.QQ 2-1, meaning they're out of the tournament. Bonkers, honestly, one of the bigger squads and a really big name in the scene, going out relatively early. The deciding match will be Team Solar versus OWQQ in Group A. I'm not sure who's covering that one, but if you want to check out any of the other streams, I think they will be covering this. But meanwhile, we will be sticking here. I think that we'll get an invitation from one of the Grand Danois guys once they figure out who wins in this side of the tournament. But our next game should be the winner of the Nerd Rage LDLC match against the side of Gamers Origin. All right. Well, how's your day going so far, and how are you taking these games? Is there anything you've gotten out of the EU scene so far based on the matches you've seen?
Well, having a great day so far. It's just been all Overwatch so far, and that's always great. But as Gamers Origin has been impressing me, I haven't really gotten to cast those guys before, so having a great time learning about Leaf and his playstyle. Narwhal doing a great job on the hit scan. Poco with his great Zarya play. Everything actually impressing on the side of Gamers Origin, and kind of interesting to see LDLC actually fall against him in that first series. But if they do clean things up against Nerd Rage, maybe we'll get to see them and get some payback and exit the group anyway. Grand Danois, they a fully Danish team apparently. I did not know that going in, but they did pretty well. I think the series didn't go obviously fully their way, but definitely have the potential to take those same games. I think if you replayed them 10 times, they probably win 4 or 5 of them. So still very good parity, at least so far here in Group B. Group A looks like they had a couple of 3-game sets as well. Bonkers actually in both of those. So they definitely fought hard, even though they did exit the tournament. Team Solar and OW.QQ, I don't think I really recognize very many of them either. So happy to see them advance. Actually, Otter is a guy that I do recognize there on Team Solar as a very good DPS player. So maybe not too surprising in the end to see them continuing on.
Yeah, and I am going to be moving the volume just a little bit. The volume, honestly, volume control is so difficult to balance out the audio settings, but I want to make sure that everyone can hear as well as they can. I think my in-game sound, I can raise my in-game sound a little more, but I think they want to hear mics as well, so I'll be raising my mic up, and I'll also be raising you up as well, just so they can hear more of us, which I think is always good. But yeah, I mean, let's see what the next match is. I think we will be seeing the winner of that match, but until then, until we get the final confirmation about that match and who will be next in our lobby, let me just refresh, and it does not look like we will have that just yet. So in the meantime, guys, make sure to get some water, get whatever. This is the StriveWire monthly brawl for February. Thank you so much for our sponsors, StriveWire, Phoenix.gg, and of course Nookie, who has been not only contributing to the prize, but also has been a lot of administrating, getting us all together and stuff like that in the background. And we will be back with some more gameplay once we get back into lobby and figure out exactly who we'll be waiting for. In the meantime, guys, stay tuned, hang out, get some water, get some snacks. We'll be right back.